Another winter storm is right on our doorstep. At this time, the impact will be much greater. Our weather team says the system could drop up to 9 inches of snow, making it the biggest storm of the year so far. Good evening. I'm Monica Medea here with First Alert meteorologist Pete Bouchard and Sydney Welch. We, of course, have team coverage for you across the state. Malcolm Johnson will be keeping an eye on conditions in Worcester tonight. Mary Marcos has us covered in Boston, and our weather warriors out on the roads giving you a look at real-time conditions as the storm progresses tonight. Almost all of New England will have dangerous driving tonight. So we also have team weather coverage tonight. Sydney Welch will have more on the travel impacts from the storm, Sydney. But first, Pete Bouchard has more for us. Pete, there's a lot going on here.
There is, yeah.
Everyone wants to know when this thing is going to start. Take it away.
Kind of exciting. You know, it's going to be our first big storm in the sense that we're seeing, you know, some intense snowfall rates of 1 inch per hour. And the best part of this is that it's coming overnight, right? All right. So everybody gets to sleep in the morning and clean up, right? 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. If you want to get up and geek out, you can, because there'll be a band of heavy snow in that point, and maybe, just maybe, some rumbles of thunder, some bolts of lightning in that. And that would definitely be a difficult travel time, obviously. Lighter snow after 5 a.m. The storm wraps by noontime. Some fluffy snow for us, but it's wetter near the coastline. We're noting the bands of heavy snow coming together in Cleveland right now, pushing through northern PA, and also watching the thunderstorms now growing around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if that gets into the mix here, well, then we'll be talking about some spots maybe getting closer to a foot in northern Mass, southern New Hampshire. But we are definitely in the heavy stuff through midnight, 1 o'clock. That starts to exit between 4 and 5 o'clock. Again, I think that's where you get 80, 90% of your accumulation, right in that window of about 5 hours. So what comes after that is kind of just, you know, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top. That is looking like it's at least through 10 o'clock. Along the coastline, it might cling a little bit here until about noontime. But then we could even see a few breaks in the overcast. 5 to 8 is solid now. We're confident in that all the way to the coastline. This is not a mixing situation in this darker shading of blue, but we might see that in that 3 to 5 on Cape Cod. Where's this 8 plus? And this is where we could be up to 10 inches in some spots, 9, 10, maybe Leominster, Pepperell on up near the Merrimack Valley. There's a fluffier snow and a fluffier factor, about 5 to 8 even in the city, and then 3 to 5 from Falmouth all the way out through Chatham. Monica, back to you.
All right, Pete, thanks so much. So let's head to Worcester now. The city expected to be one of the first communities to see snow. That's where we find Malcolm Johnson. Malcolm, final preparations have been made. We now just have to wait. I know you're at the supermarket. I have to imagine a lot of people maybe stocking up before the storm rolls in.
Monica, it is intense inside of this Hartford Pike market basket. Take a look. You can see all of the cars that fill the parking lot at this hour. There have been hundreds of people making their way here, potentially more than that. When you think about just how long they've been open and when they close later on this evening, many of them in a mad dash to get all that they need going into tomorrow. As drivers make their way to Market Basket, they're preparing for the incoming snowstorm and storm of shoppers.
Yo, it is absolutely pandemonium in there.
There's lines in every line, so it was nuts, and the aisles were all congested.
Oh, it's crazy in there. Yeah. It's pretty crazy in there. Lines all the way to the back is insane. People are fighting for eggs. There's like no eggs.
With Worcester winter weather on the way, shoppers are preparing as the National Weather Service posted a winter weather advisory from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sunday, covering all of Worcester County. And in addition to the snow.
Yo, it's crazy. Go Birds, baby.
I'm feeling so good about this game.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Shoppers getting ready for the big game, begging the question. What's more important, snow preparations or Super Bowl?
For me, it's the Super Bowl, obviously.
Oh, man.
We just had this conversation.
I'm preparing for the Super Bowl. Yes, I'm going to be home. Might as well, right?
Absolutely.
Super Bowl all day.
Mac and cheese.
What about you?
Super Bowl, snowstorm.
I want a big snowstorm, so no school Monday.
Of course, of course.
You know what? It's the mac and cheese for me. Mac and cheese and wings. Super Bowl. It's Super Bowl.
Monica, I am sure you are feeling good after hearing all of those Eagles fans in that story there. We know you're an Eagles fan yourself. Back to the big game, second time in 3 years. I'm still pretty upset about what you guys did to my Washington Commanders last week, putting up 50 points on us, but I am going to root for you all. It's an I-95 thing. I hope things go well tomorrow for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. For now, we are live reporting in Worcester County. I'm Malcolm Johnson, NBC 10 Boston.
Malcolm, love that. Showing the love. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. All right, let's find out how the Bay State is preparing for the winter storm tonight. Joining us live, MassDOT's Highway Administrator Jonathan Gulliver. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. All right, so the storm is rolling in later tonight. How soon can people expect some of these roads being treated?
Well, we've actually had some treatment out for the last 24 hours, getting pre-treatment down, ready to go. As this really picks up, we have about 3,000 pieces of equipment ready to go. I expect we're probably going to deploy about 2/3 of that at the peak of this storm, but you'll start seeing those pretty quick as soon as the snowflakes start to fall.
All right, and are there priority roads for you?
They're all the roads. Our goal is to get every roadway as safe and cleared as quickly as we can. Right now, it's looking like tomorrow morning, later in the morning, is going to be your best time to get out there and pick up some of that last-minute stuff for your Super Bowl if you haven't done it already.
Well, one more question. If someone travels over conditions that maybe need more treatment, what's the best way to reach out to you guys, or what's the best mode for them to take to just kind of notify you that some roads are trickier than others?
Yeah, so we don't want you to try to stop and call us, but certainly if you see anything that's serious, call state police 911 if it's a real emergency. But we have people deployed throughout the entire storm. We have GPS to know where they are and when they're treating. So we have a pretty good handle on what roadways need attention. When it gets the kind of rates that we're expecting tonight, you can expect that roadways are going to be slippery overnight hours for sure. Those types of, when you're seeing 1 to 2 inches per hour, very, very hard to keep up with regardless of how much equipment we have.
Yeah, definitely. Jonathan Gulliver, thank you so much, and good luck tonight and tomorrow morning. We appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
All right, you just heard about the roads. Now let's show them to you. Our weather warrior out and about, our photographer Dom Aielli is behind the wheel. Dom, all right, it doesn't look like there's anything right now, of course. We did hear that the roads were pre-treated. What's your sense of what's going on now, and are there a lot of people on the road tonight?
Well, good evening, Monica, to you, and good evening to everyone getting ready to venture out into the roadways. As of this moment, crystal clear, nothing here on 495 North in Lawrence. But as we always tell you, and MassDOT reiterates, you should always be prepared. Tips from me, make sure your car has good tires. They don't have to be new, just good. And if they're not good, please stay off the roads. Number 2, always give yourself some extra time to brake, make lane changes, or when you exit the roadway, always think about the people behind you and how quickly they can react to what you're doing in front of them, like this guy who almost cut me off. And one thing that I realized Thursday night during that annoying precipitation, make sure you have enough windshield washer fluid in your reservoir. You're tapping that stock every 30 seconds. It's amazing how quickly the washer fluid will disappear, and then you can't clear all that gunk off your windshield. Those are my tips from the roadway. So as you know, Monica, I love the snow. My dog loves the snow. I want it to snow like the Celtics raining down threes on the Knicks tonight. What do you think?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully that happens. It's a tough matchup. Dom, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Dom's out on the roads all the time, so he's got some good advice.
Oh, yeah.
First Alert meteorologist Sydney Welch now joining us with more on how this will affect travel, because when the heaviest snow comes down, as we've been hearing, it's going to be tricky to be out there.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky. There's going to be a difficult window for travel between midnight and 5 o'clock in the morning. You heard MassDOT talking about the fact 1 to 2 inch rates per hour. It's just hard to overcome that as far as plows are concerned. That's why the highest impacts, the hazardous conditions, are going to be during that time, because we're starting to see it increasing in intensity by the time 11:30 to midnight rolls around. See this darker blue, almost purple color that's coming into view? That's inch per hour rates. And then at times 2 inches per hour. And this is around 1 o'clock in the morning. Now, this this is going to be potentially setting up a little bit to the north of where it's actually showing up here. Could set up there, but it's a little bit harder for the weather models to place it exactly where it's going to stand. But there will be some bands that do come in 2 inches per hour around 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. We'll start to see those rates winding down by the time that 5, 6 o'clock in the morning rolls around. We'll have some snow left over. As Pete called it, the icing on the cake is going to be coming in once that sun does come up. And as we head through our morning hours, the roads still could potentially be difficult for travel. So you'll still want to take caution if you have anywhere you have to be in the early morning. But all of us, except for the Cape and the Islands, under that winter storm warning. So definitely time now is to prepare if you haven't already. We'll talk more about what to expect as far as the hour-by-hour forecast and, of course, future systems coming our way coming up.
All right, Sydney, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you so much. All right, let's check in on Boston. The heart of the city there should see snow around 10 tonight. It hasn't stopped people from getting ready. NBC 10's Mary Marcos there live for us on Boston Common with more on the preparations. Mary, how's it going?
Going good. Pretty soon, people here at Frog Pond will be having to trade in their skates for snow boots. But thankfully, Boston Mayor Michelle Wu is hopeful that the streets will be mostly clear by the time we wake up. We're always very lucky when this happens when school is not in session, so we'll be working as hard as we can, as quickly as we can. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu says snow removal crews will work throughout the night, but the roads might still be slippery come Sunday morning. The city has 41,000 tons of salt on hand to treat the streets, 175 pieces of in-house equipment, and another 800 on deck if they need it. The mayor deciding against a snow emergency this weekend due to the timing of the storm. Although the rate of snow is going to come down pretty fast, it should be in a chunk of time that we will be able to handle it. So we have lots of our snow plows and our city workers ready to go. Mayor Wu is reminding people to drive carefully, especially at intersections where snow piles might limit visibility. Clear out sidewalks 3 hours after the storm ends. Call 911 if you see a homeless or vulnerable person out in the cold, and dress for the weather. If you can stay home, try to stay warm, watch out for your neighbors, and check on anyone else who might need help. Now, the mayor says city services will be out through the night to make sure anyone who needs to get warm has shelter. Live in Boston, Mary Marcos, NBC 10 Boston.
Mary, thank you so much. It'd be beautiful to ice skate in the snow there. All right. Now, you can count on us, NBC 10 Boston, your trusted source for weather coverage. We'll have the latest, of course, tonight at 11 with the overnight impact. And then our friends on Weekend Today will have much more starting at 5:30 Sunday morning.